You are listening to Crosstalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to Crosstalk Recovery again, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. We're here today. I'm Matt Lewis. We're here today with
Sam Peterson,
Erica Wilson.
Hey guys, glad you're here. Last time we talked a little bit about rock bottom. So today I thought we'd discuss, our pathways to recovery. Once we hit rock bottom, then we had to start somewhere, and for everybody it's different, and we support whichever path you choose to take. But so I kind of want to just go around and talk about what got us started, what worked for us. For me, I went to Centerpoint, which is a AA program, 12 steps. I had never been to recovery before. It was my first time, so it was all new to me. I'd been forced to go to AA meetings and stuff through court, but never took it seriously, never been to rehab. So, but because I was actually ready for something different, I took advantage of the opportunity provided to me and gave it a shot and worked it thoroughly and honestly. I know that, it's different for everybody, but that's where I started out kind of. What about you, Sam?
I guess for me it started out in, it's hard to say really because, I was sent to meetings, support meetings through Department of Corrections at first, and then of course I ended up at Centerpoint Recovery for Men as well. I've went through the program twice, so it's where it really started. For me, I work at an anonymous program, but I think it is important for people to know that you can recover and stuff. So me personally, I'm honest about my recovery and put it out in the open. But for me, it started the same thing, long-term treatment center, well, short-term, then long-term treatment center, Fuller Center, then Centerpoint. And, I think the most important thing about my recovery today is just making sure to give back and help other people. That's the biggest part of my recovery. And of course, I believe in a God of my own understanding, everything that goes wrong with the program I work. But, I also work the program of DTR, which is double trouble recovery. I happen to be bipolar 1 and manic episode, so I have to treat that as well. And it goes hand in hand with the 12 steps. It's like a extra to the AA, and it's what works for me. For me, I have to treat both of them.
Yeah.
To stay sober, I guess, or clean, whatever you want to call your recovery.
Right.
To me, recovery is just not using anymore and being able to enjoy life and to not have to seek substances. And also part of my recovery is being not acting out on my mental illness as well, which can be just as bad.
Do you find it more difficult to be dealing with that on top of your addiction?
I will say this time it's easier. It seems like it's been easier to stay sober. I've been sober for a little over 2 years now, and the first time I got sober, I wasn't treating both. I was just focused on the drug addiction, and I still say sober for about a little over 3 years, but it seems like this time, and recovery is not easy. So I don't want everybody. It's just easier now that I'm treating both the diseases, and it seems everything flows a lot better, and I don't, without all those highs and lows, the urge to use is less, so I think that's what's so important.
Right. What about you, Erica?
So I've started out in a long-term treatment center. It was through the court system, and it was in jail, and I don't think, I think the court system is a good, helpful push for people to get sober. But if you don't want to get sober, it's harder. So I went to Recovery Works about a year after that, and I got out, and I wanted to stay sober, but I still messed up, and so after another year or so, I went back, and I also incorporated the maintenance program into my recovery, and I've been on the maintenance program for 2 years, and I've been doing really good since. So life's a lot better today.
That's awesome. There's a lot of a stigma attached to that, and I know it's harder for people around here to, who are medically assisted to find sponsors sometimes,
Right.
or even in meetings, people can judge you. We support all forms of recovery here, and that's ultimately the way I feel about it is if we want people to live happier, healthier lives, and I want that for everybody, whatever gets you there. I think that's important.
I know I've seen the stigma in the rooms before, with the medically assisted treatments. And, my thing is the program I work says that it's not the only pathway to recovery. I think it's, I have to stay open-minded until, and to judge something before I'm educated about it sometimes is where I make mistakes. So for me, I work at an abstinence program, and my quality of life has improved. If somebody's on MAT and their quality of life is improved and their abstinence from other drugs, what's the problem? I mean, it's all about living a better life and returning to somewhat of what we like to call normalcy to me, so-called normalcy.
Right. Absolutely. I have a dear friend who's been on it for many years, and, it's way better. I don't like to say it's the lesser of two evils, but, it's way better than the alternative,
Absolutely.
You can actually hold down a job, have a life.
My thing is I don't want to necessarily be judged because I'm a drug addict and I have that in my past. So why am I going to pass judgment on other people? My program teaches me that's not what I do. That's not the program I work, is to judge others.
I mean, I hated being judged, even in my addiction, but I judged everybody,
Right.
Today I have no judgment for anyone, and I just want everyone to be better, to live their best life, ultimately.
We'll be right back.
Did you know that recovery from substance use disorder and mental health go hand in hand? That is why the caring and compassionate mental health professionals at Four Rivers Behavioral Health in Paducah are here to help you find your balance. They are proud of you for making the changes necessary to live a healthier life and would love to see you reach your full potential. Give them a call at 270-442-7121 or stop by the downtown location at 425 Broadway in Paducah, Kentucky.
What do you guys think about, I know that, the anonymity of 12-step program is something that they beat into your head, kind of, and a lot of people say that it's non-existent, but, I think it is sometimes an important part of it. I kind of like that people are being able to, be open about their recovery and not have to hide it as much, that they, that they're celebrating it. I mean, I have to remain humble about my recovery, knowing that, at any moment I could go back out there if I don't do what I've been taught to do and use the tools that I use. But I don't think that people should be made to feel bad about it, because people are trying to get their lives back together.
I think anonymity was put in place more to protect the program than it was me. It's my recovery. I feel like if I want to talk about my recovery, it's my recovery to talk about. Me personally, if you Google my name, you get to see the nice list of charges throughout my drug addiction. So what am I really trying to hide? That I'm changed my life and become a better person? I mean, everybody that really knows me knows the struggles I've already went through. And if I think I'm hiding something that, I didn't, that's not what it was for. It's because I'm liable to, relapse can happen. And, I think the reason I try to stay anonymous, I don't want to hurt the program that I work. Because I promise you, if I go back out there, it's not the program's fault. It's because of something I didn't do. The program works if I work it. I know that's cliche, but it's just the truth. So I think the more people that come in contact with people that are in recovery, the better it is for the recovery community. Because so many times we see the guys going back to jail and things of that nature. I was talking to a police officer one time, and I said, you get to see the repeat offenders, but a guy like me that got in trouble in Muhlenberg County, went to a treatment in Paducah, got sober, now works in recovery. the guys that arrested me don't get to see me anymore. So, they don't get that positive reinforcement that people can change. And that's where a lot of the stigma comes from, I think, is because a lot of people don't know that, hey, that one of their friends is an addict or this and that, because we've always been so anonymous about it. And there is the stigma that goes along with being an alcoholic or an addict. So I think it's important for everybody to see that, this stuff works. Whatever your path is, I think that's
For sure.
important thing.
Absolutely. Erica, how do you feel about that? I mean, do you feel like you faced stigma or faced people judging you?
Yeah, when I first got out of rehab and started going to meetings, I started questioning, because of the things I was hearing, I started questioning if I was actually sober or not. Like, should I pick up this chip? It was kind of confusing for me. And you'll sometimes hear people comment about, and I just want to say, look at me, I'm doing the thing, and I'm on Suboxone. I know it's not for everybody, and different things work for different people, but that's why it's important to be open-minded about it. And so yeah, I think I'm a little bit better now because there's so much support here where we work and in the community that I have seen, and like we're doing right now, it's pretty awesome.
Well, right, like just being on this podcast and talking about it, you don't know who will see it, and that that takes courage to be able to be open about that stuff. But I applaud you for that.
I think that it's important. Recovery is person-centered. What works for me may not work for you, and what works for y'all may not work for me. That doesn't make one pathway to recovery wrong or right. It just makes them different. And I think that the more that it's talked about, the more that these communities can come together and support one another. And I think that's what and it for the most part it does. From what I'm seeing lately, I think it's things are starting to change in outlooks. But I think anybody in recovery needs to support another person in recovery. That's what I just want to help people, because I needed help one time too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that unity between pathways to recovery is extremely important for what we're doing. I mean, we're all trying to better ourselves, trying to better our lives. Ultimately, we have the same goals. We're all human beings just trying to live our best life,
I think you touched on it. All I'm trying to do is be a better person than what I used to be, and whatever supports that, or, and I can wear the hat at a lot of different support groups,
Yeah.
So I don't get caught up in all that anymore. The important thing to me is that, am I doing something different than I used to be? And I didn't set the bar real high. So, for people to be proud of me, it doesn't take a whole lot anymore.
Yeah.
I've set that bar nice and low. So, whatever works for you, and I think that's in recovery in general, you're seeing a whole lot more of that. It's about what works for somebody.
Can we address the fact that it's St. Patrick's Day and none of us are wearing green?
It is St. Patrick's Day, and I'm not wearing green because I didn't remember this morning.
I'll be honest.
Nor did I even know that St. Patrick's Day was this month. So
St. Patrick's Day was always huge for me. Being not,
when I was drinking,
I was a hardcore drinker. We had a parade. We were always on the floats. It went down the road where all the bars were. It was bar hopping. It was always debauchery or jail or injuries or fights.
I always liked,
and I loved it.
St. Patty's Day when I was drinking, because it was one of those days where a lot of people would get as drunk as I normally do, so I didn't stand out as much.
That's true too. Yeah, that was a great aspect of it.
An excuse to get crazy in public.
Oh, I didn't need an excuse, but I took advantage of every excuse I could find. You know what I mean?
It was like there's less likely of a chance I'm going to get arrested today because people who don't drink as much as I do are trying to drink as much as I do today.
Right. Especially when they're having the parade, you're allowed to drink on the streets. It was so much easier to hide and get away. But, all you have to do is be the one guy who's way worse than all those people. And the jails are full those nights, trust me. I've been there. How do you think you're going to do at bowling tonight?
I don't know. I did not do well last week, so I'm thinking that it should be a redemption day.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were off last week.
I was. It was bad. Still beat you once, but it was bad.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't
Second game.
remember that.
The second game.
He
Really,
remembers.
really badly. The second game.
Okay, maybe. But I won all the other ones. All the other ones.
The other two.
How many?
We bowled three.
We bowled 4.
3. It was too many people. We only bowled 3.
Really?
Yeah.
No, that's not true because there was at least 5 games because there was 2 at the beginning, then there was 2
Man.
more, then there was 1 more.
Well, yes.
So you won 1 of 5.
I may have also known that.
I had to think about it. But I really enjoy us going bowling, doing something. I mean, it's something that we can do and have fun, together, build those relationships. We don't have to drink doing it or use. I used to.
I bet your score was great.
I don't even think I ever kept track of it. It was like I was throwing it between my legs or backwards. It was more about being a fool than it was actually my score. But no, today it's about winning.
Are you tired of having an embarrassing low bowling score? If so, you need to try Matt's proven method called bumper bowling. That's right, we're talking about those gutter rails designed to keep children from having a complete and total meltdown. Matt's bumper bowling technique is guaranteed to pull your score out of the double digits just like it did his. And don't worry, your friends aren't laughing at you, they're cheering you on.
He's got a week to edit it, and I'm sure he'll put this in there and somehow make it into me being, making fun of me somehow.
Well, I mean,
It's going to be a running gag through this.
It is really easy to make fun of you.
Yeah. when I'm doing things like this, yeah. Not at bowling.
Okay, Lebowski.
Recovery Out Loud, their whole goal is to build unity in the recovery community, which we talked about, and to bridge the gap between the recovery community at large, and they do that through education about myths and recovery, going to schools and churches in the community, trying to affect change, hosting forums and workshops. They have program development, to work with establishment recovery support organizations, and advocacy and network, long-term project development. They're involved in all these things. So I feel like, once you get past the stigma maybe based on whatever program you're working that might, tell you to be anonymous about it or to not, to be ashamed of it, which I don't know who would be encouraging that. I think that that's ultimately a good thing that we are, there's nothing to be ashamed of. We may be ashamed of some of the things we've done in our past, but it's all about what we do moving forward from here, in my opinion. We can't do anything to change those things that we've done. We can just try to be better people, have learned from those things.
I know for me, until I found recovery, I didn't know that it was possible. I thought I had gotten to this point where there was no going back. The stigma was within my own head that you've went too far, you can't come back from this, you're going to die. That's the way I felt about myself. And I think what Recovering Out Loud does, not only does it help with the stigma within the community, but it also puts that message of hope out there. So maybe you reach people earlier. They don't have to go to the links I went to, that rock bottom we talked about last time, It's all about hope. If I believe I can recover, then I have a shot at it. If I don't believe it, it's never going to happen.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's, I use that as an excuse too. Like I'll never be able to make it out of this. It's too hard. This is who I am. It's just giving up, not being willing to put, like I said, I think before, the magic wand would have been nice, but no, it requires action and effort, to actually achieve things that you want in your life, not just in recovery, but in anything. You have to work towards them, so.
Yeah, I don't know why you should be shameful about having substance use disorder, So I have this problem that's within my mind that makes me different than other people, and I should be ashamed about it.
It's a disease. I mean, people argue that point too, but it quite clearly is a disease because there's people who can drink successfully, I guess, you know what I mean? It doesn't affect everyone the same way. So,
There's people like in my family that can have 1 or 2 drinks at night. They go to bed, wake up the next
Right.
morning, go to work, do all those things, are quite successful.
they don't break out in handcuffs.
I put a couple drinks in me, and I'm on a rampage for however many months until I'll hopefully make it back to treatment. Have, destroyed about every relationship in my life, and hopefully I'm still alive to go to treatment, if not in jail. That's how it goes for me.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to say this right, but it kind of the stigma and the shame and stuff comes from maybe from the people that don't understand that it's a disease. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that we're choosing to destroy our lives and continue to do drugs every day just because we wake up and want to all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I know for my dad, I don't know if he still understands me because he's different than me, but he does understand me enough to know that if I have one, it's not stopping. He does understand that today. And, that's good enough. He knows that I'm not like other people. If I have one of something, I'm going to have 2 of somethings, and I'm going to have 4, 8, 1,000.
Right.
I'm going to run it until the wheels fall off.
And I think a lot of times we can put some of that shame on ourselves, feeling guilty about our own past, even we might think we're being judged maybe when we're not, and so people tiptoe around it, but I think people should take pride in their recovery, honestly, like I said, while remaining humble about it, knowing that it's something you have to work at, but you're trying to improve yourself.
I know that I'm, like you said, I am still ashamed of some of the things I did, that are, during my addiction. I'm not proud of those. But if you really ask me, would I change anything today? And I would say no, because all those things made me who I am today. And, I dealt with self-worth issues, self-pity, and all these things. On the other side of that today, treating all the, because not just my substance use disorder, my bipolar, and all the other stuff I've got going on. Today, I actually like who I am and care about myself, which is so far. I got to go back far in my life to remember caring about myself. So
Yeah.
Would I change anything? No, I wouldn't, because they've made me who I am today, and I actually like the guy in the mirror today. I don't want to punch him. So.
Right. Well, like, how would you talk about your quality of life today, Erica? I mean, do you think it's vastly improved then?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I was gonna say that. I can be a coworker today. I can be a mom today. I can be a daughter. I have my own place. Pay the bills, just everything. I can keep friends, and all that good stuff. So.
Absolutely. That's what makes it all worthwhile. I know for me, like the last several years of my addiction, it was just misery and depression and hopelessness and, fear and never, that's completely polar opposite from what my life is like today.
My idea of happiness is different today than it was
Absolutely.
before. I thought I got caught up in materialistic things. You have to have the big house, the nice car, and all this stuff to be a successful human being, and that is just not the case. Today my happiness is not measured in what I own or how much money I make. It's measured in the quality of my friends and the people I get to spend my time left on earth with. And, I enjoy other people's company that I run around with. It's a big change, as far as quality of life.
Yeah.
And besides being maybe a couple pounds overweight, everything's pretty good health-wise, too.
Right on. Yeah, exactly. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, did you know it's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely? Here at Turning Point, we don't want you to ever be lonely either. That's why we're open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Always feel free to come hang with our friendly staff, and don't forget your guinea pig. We're located at 415 Broadway Street, downtown Paducah.
Are you jealous?
No. I was wondering if you stole it from my granddad.
Yeah, my grandpa wore these every day.
I love those hats.
Yeah. It's kind of a, nod to him, and I've always liked them too.
Yeah, when you have a noggin like mine, finding hats like that would fit me would be probably, I'd have to order them off Amazon or something. I don't know if they carry them at the store.
Yeah, I don't think they carry hats that big.
Is there anything else we wanted to talk about during this thing?
Just how happy I am to have met you guys.
Aw.
I met you guys before working here, and then ended up working with y'all. So that's pretty cool.
It is.
It is cool.
Good times.
Yeah. I never thought I'd be working with Sam. When I came in, I thought Sam, he was a peer mentor when I got there, and I thought he was someone with all kinds of knowledge about recovery and was this a peer of the community, and that was all a lie.
I kicked that pedestal down, didn't I?
Quick. No, but it's awesome, man, because we all come from the same place, and that's what unites us, and, whatever level we're at, we can,
when I first met Matt, I was like, this guy's full of bull. He's not. Which I don't think he was when I first met him, but it did change along the way. And I remember
there were highs and lows.
I was watching the light bulb come on. I got to watch the light bulb come on, man. I was like, hey, this guy is actually he's starting to take this serious. And then I was working at Turning Point, and I said, what are you going to do after you're done being a peer mentor? And he's like, everybody's going to work somewhere, but nobody wanted to ask me. I'm like, well, that's what I'm kind of talking to you about right now.
I know I felt like applying down here, but I saw like people being asked to come down here. No one asked me to peer mentor. Like, I was waiting for that bit of encouragement. Like someone like, you'd make a great peer mentor. Never happened. Waiting for someone to say, come down to Turning Point. Never happened. I just, I didn't want to do either one of those things, but I felt like I should apply and make the effort to apply and leave it in God's hands. Mm-hmm. And, here I am. Yeah, I just heard the other day someone told me that they were taking bets on that I would be one of the first people to relapse out of the group I came in with.
Wow. Well, you've already proved that wrong.
Yeah. I've blown that out of the water. But,
I think sometimes being sober just, rubs certain people in my life probably still the wrong way, and I still find pleasure in that sometimes too. I am still sick,
Still sick.
Getting better.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for participating. Thank you for being honest and sharing a little bit about your pathway, because it's an important part of this process is, as we talked about, being proud of what we've done and continuing to share with others and help others to know it's possible, I think.
And speaking of sharing, remember to like and share the podcast.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.